why is acne a negative thing? That was a scary moment.
And you're like,
Whenever I get hate, I'm like, oh my God, you're like giving me free engagement. I love it. Keep it coming.
Oh my gosh. It's time to get loud. Welcome back to LoudTalk with Lavi, a podcast where we break down the walls of beauty standards one flaw at a time. And today I have such a special guest that I'm so excited for, Daisy, the founder and owner of Banish Skincare. Oh my gosh, Daisy, I'm so excited to have you on the pod, and thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I know you're a super busy lady, businesswoman, all of that, so thank you for coming on and allowing me to kind of talk to you today.
No, thank you. And I love how we're doing this Friday night. Great end to this.
Exactly.
Everyone's like, I'm going to end work early on Fridays. I'm like, no, this is where we get shit done.
Yes. I feel like that's one thing that you can definitely relate on, just always working 24/7.
Yeah.
What's a weekend? What's an evening? We don't know. Exactly. We don't know about that. Well, thank you for coming on. I want to jump right into this. So obviously, as I kind of mentioned right at the start, you are the creator of Banish Skincare. Do you want to talk at all a little bit about that? Kind of, first of all, where you started with that, how long it's been. I know some of this stuff, but for the viewers out there.
Yeah, so I'll kind of just go into why I started it. So I've had acne since I was 9 years old, so I was in the 3rd grade. And from the time I was probably 9 years old to 22 years old, having acne and trying to solve my skin was probably my biggest priority in my life.
Yes.
So, when I'm 10 years old, I'm waking up with such anxiety, is today going to be a bad cystic pimple day, cystic acne day? Because for me, if I have cystic acne, it would just pop and bleed all over my face. And so I would have to put bandages on and go to school on the school bus with bandages, and everybody's like, why does she have bandages, bloody bandages on her face? And then that turned progressively worse, and so did the comments from everybody else,
of course,
you're gross, you're disgusting, just wash your face, it's not that hard. Oh, if her face is that dirty, she must be super dirty everywhere else. I mean, it was just super terrible. Kids are terrible. Really, really mean. And it got to the point where literally for lunch, I had nowhere to sit, mm-hmm. I would literally eat lunch in the bathroom or in the library, just okay, God, just let's pass 30 minutes for lunch, let's get it over with, because I don't want to be bullied or have those hateful comments. So outside of that, it was I need to solve my skin. This is my number one priority in life. Mm-hmm. I need to solve my skin. I need it to clear up so that way I can live a somewhat normal life, right? And so I went to so many different dermatologists, doctors, natural healers, tried out literally every product out there. And this was back then when doctors or dermatologists would be like, nope, chocolate doesn't cause acne. Nope, greasy food doesn't cause acne. Nope, there's nothing that says that diet is causing your acne. Which,
no correlation, yeah.
Yeah, now we know, there's a lot. Acne is not just, isolated. It's a holistic thing.
Such a complex system.
Yeah, such a complex system. But it was just okay, take these antibiotics. Okay, if that doesn't work, take stronger ones. Increase the strength of your benzoyl peroxide, apply more of it on, all this stuff. And yeah, it was just constantly going from one place to another to try to cure my acne up. And it just got progressively worse. Nothing would make it better. And this was also back then, this was over 15 years ago. So Accutane wasn't really prescribed. There's a lot of accounts of suicide and depression from people taking Accutane. So doctors did not want to prescribe it because they don't want to be liable. Now I feel it's much more common, and a lot of people are on Accutane. But yeah, Accutane wasn't really an option for me. So yeah, for such a long time, over 15 years, I feel I lost a part of my life, right? Because I was just hiding and trying to solve this thing that I couldn't fix.
And isn't that so crazy how, something like acne can literally take over your life? Like it's all you think about. It literally consumes like everything, even just like money wise, time wise, as you said, like visiting all these dermatologists, spending your money on so many different products for most of them to not even work, and you just keep hitting like a dead end wall each time, and then it really just starts to take over like your whole mental space. It's just crazy how much of like a domino effect it can create, and it can really start to just take like and consume your whole life.
No, for sure. And this was back then, like there wasn't the acne positive community, like people weren't using YouTube and Instagram, like there wasn't this kind of social media stuff.
Yeah.
So I was very isolated. I didn't, see anyone who looked like me or who had skin like me. Like this is when you would look at magazines and stuff like
Yes.
that. Yeah, so there wasn't this community of acne positive creators like you who are
Mm-hmm.
sharing their stories and stuff. So I felt so alone and I had no idea like what to do.
Yeah, no, and I think it's come even just a long way just in the last couple of years, because even when I started off on YouTube, even though social media was kind of up and rising, I didn't even see anyone on YouTube who kind of looked like me either, because I'm sure there were other like acne positivity creators. I know you did YouTube at one point, but I think they were like very kind of far and thin, whereas now like you see it a lot more, and even people who don't struggle with acne, people are a little more open to sharing just even their like natural skin, even if they don't have acne nowadays. But when I started on YouTube, that was one thing I really noticed. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all these people in the beauty space have perfect skin. Like I'm over here really, really struggling with like cystic and hormonal acne. So it's great to see the progression over the last few years of really just creating that community and showing people that they do have a support system, even if it is online and we live like all across the world. But we're still all here to support each other.
Yeah, and I mean even this podcast too, right? Your TikToks,
Yes.
your YouTube, your podcast, it all helps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what you're doing is so courageous and brave, and it's going to inspire other people to want to share their own story too. So I love it. I love
Yes.
it. And I really wish that there was a community like this when I was 12 years old, because I really think that I would have been different. Like I would have been
Yes.
just so much more confident, and I would have at least had a little bit of my teenage, years.
Years, yeah, and
Yeah,
experience, yeah. No, and at that age it's so hard, because that's really, when
exactly.
kids are mean, and
Yeah,
having acne does not help with that in any way,
right.
shape, or form. So it's definitely a tough experience. And I did want to ask you, like, what kind of ended up being for you like that solution. I know acne's super complex, so I know for me it's like a balance of all sorts of things, and if one thing kind of goes a little bit wrong, then the whole the whole balance gets kind of out of whack. So what's kind of worked for you over the years, after kind of entering your like adult years?
Yeah. So I had acne all that time, and then I actually wanted to become a dermatologist. So that was
Okay.
like what am I gonna do with my life? Well, I was spending 15 years thinking about acne, so I'm gonna be a dermatologist. And I went to Duke University. I did pre med there, and during like the day I'd go to school and everything. But then at night I started reviewing products on YouTube,
Yes.
right? And this was when you would go through the ingredients and be like this. And as I started reviewing the products, I was like, wait, like why are there so many of these ingredients, artificial colors, fragrance, all that stuff? Now it's very like known, like clean beauty, right? Now it's very known. Like, oh, we ideally should don't want like a lot of fragrance in our skincare, but back then it was just all the skincare was like very, very synthetic. And I was like, wait, why is this in our skincare? And then I realized, oh, it was probably because it makes the product feel better. It gives a really great first impression experience, but it might not actually be good for someone with very sensitive acne prone skin like me. So I
Yes.
started reviewing the products on my YouTube channel, and if you go far back enough, you'll be able to watch all of them. Me in my dorm room just reviewing products, and I soon realized, oh wow, like maybe I should cut out some of these products, because back
Okay.
then it was let's dry out your skin
Yep.
and add more stuff, and dry it out and add more stuff, like this nasty cycle of just if you have acne, it's because your skin is just so oily, and let's
Yeah.
dry it out
No
and be super cruel
moisturizer.
to it. Yeah, let's just be cruel, right? Like
Yes.
be bad.
Strip it completely.
Strip it completely. And I was like, well, why not take a little opposite of approach? So I started doing that, saw my skin clear up immensely.
Okay.
Um, And I would go to like natural food stores and like Whole Foods and like places like that to like even source some of my own products, or like just use some of the products there instead of like the mainstream
Mm-hmm.
products. Um, and then after that, I was the acne subsided significantly, but I was left with a ton of acne scarring. And for me, acne scarring was probably more traumatic mentally than the acne itself, because when
Really?
I had the acne, it was like everybody, like especially like my mom and my parents, and they just be like, the acne will go away, just make sure it doesn't leave a scar. Like that was always the rhetoric, like no matter what you do, make sure it doesn't leave a scar, so don't pick it, don't do whatever, because scar is permanent. Right? So when I did everything right and I was left with a ton of scarring, I just freaked out, and I was like,
Got
is
it.
this gonna be me for the rest of
Forever.
my life?
Right.
Um, and that really freaked me out, all that stuff. And so I really wanted to save up for laser treatments because that's what I thought like would cure all of the acne scars and all of that. Consulted with a plastic surgeon who actually said the lasers wouldn't do anything for my skin because my skin is a little bit darker and thicker, and so it's actually going to make the scarring worse.
Worse, yeah.
And he recommended microneedling with vitamin C, and this is so long ago, right? And I was like, there is no way in hell I'm putting that on my face. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no way, Jose. And then
It
I don't
does
know.
sound like a bad combination.
Yeah, I
Like,
was like,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
when you hear
and
about
this
it, you're like, why
yeah,
would
and this
I?
was this was even before Kim K was doing the vampire facial. So like
Right.
nobody
Very
was
like
talking about
taboo.
this. Yes.
Hmm.
But I did try it, and then I, just kept making my YouTube videos, and then everybody was like, Daisy, your skin has made a huge 180. Like, what are you doing? Where can I get all this stuff? And so I realized it was like just the only things that I was using, right? And I was like, wow, it's really helping me. Maybe it'll help other people. And then that's just how it grew.
Hmm.
So I never intended to start a skincare line. I never intended to make this a business. It was just me solving my own problem, and then people on YouTube happened to see it and they wanted it.
Interesting.
Um, but it just kept growing, and I really think we we solved a problem that's needed,
Hmm.
right? Like, how do you get rid of acne scars? Like, there's not many options. It's either lasers or you use the Banish Kit, but like there's really nothing in between, right?
At least not like kind of like on an over the counter type go pick up in a store, like not a medical treatment type option. Like, like I think topical products can only go so far with
It can
acne
only go so
scarring.
far. Yeah,
Yeah, they can help with like, there's ingredients like azelaic acid and a bunch of amazing ingredients, even vitamin C that can help with especially the pigmentation, but when it comes to the actual indentation and like the disfiguration to the actual skin itself, there's not going to be many topical products that can really resurface the skin like a micro needling treatment can, which of course a lot of them out there are really only available in clinic. And not to say like they're one, it takes time to kind of go and get that referral and also go
yeah,
and get
yeah,
that treatment done, but also they're hella expensive
yeah.
to
And
do
it's
that on a regular. So
and you know what, like what my goal is with Banish and the Banish Kit is I think back to like my 17-year-old self, in which that pimple would leave that bloody mess and it would scar. And everybody said, you need to wait for your acne to completely heal before you undergo any laser treatment.
yes.
That would have taken me 10 years. And it's so important that once the skin is healed, you start treating the scar. Because the sooner you treat it and the more consistent you are, the better the results will
Mm-hmm.
be. And so it's like, if I had this banisher and this Banish Kit, I could have at home just done it. I could have just treated it myself, and it would have saved me so many years of suffering,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with the Banisher, it's like you just stamp it on the area, right? And it's
Yeah.
easy. It takes less than a couple minutes. The whole kit is under $100, so it's not like you have to buy 5 sessions of laser and wait for your
Yes.
skin to clear up. And like when you're 17 years old, you don't have that kind of money and all that stuff. And it's like I really want to help those people and give them a solution where they feel like they're in control of their skin and they can
Yes.
really help the scarring before it gets, it's too late, right?
I think that's a great point you brought up too, is like having that control back. Because I think that's one of the hardest things with having skin issues is you feel like you've lost all control, and when you're in that position, it's really tough on your mental health because you're like, nothing I do is working, and like I can't control any of this, and every unsolicited advice that someone gives you, it's like you just want to turn to that person and say, listen, I can't control how my skin's doing, right? So having at least something that you're like, you know what, I have some control over this, and once you find that, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's like literally the best feeling in the world when you can find that one thing that can allow you to have a bit of that control back. And another thing I wanted to bring up here with the Banisher, maybe for some people who don't know, so basically it is a microneedling tool, but it's so different. It's such a simple tool, but it's so different from other like at home microneedling tools on the market. So do you want to speak to that at all? And
Yeah, for sure.
How you came up with that as well. I'd love to
Yeah,
hear.
so I mean, I was like in the very, very beginning, I was using those rollers. Yeah, nothing wrong with those rollers. It's just if you have acne, it's probably not the best thing to do because you're gonna roll the acne all over your face. It's very hard to control the actual pinpoint of where your scar is or where that pimple popped. So this is the Banisher 2.0, and it's actually created in the same facility that like all of the professional devices are created,
Cool.
which is really cool because yeah, I know like the manufacturer, owner, and everything, and I came up to him, I was like, I want to create a device that is safe, that people can use at home, that really targets once a pimple has like popped and you don't want it to scar like it did on me. I want to create something that people can use at home that's completely foolproof, that is very effective, but it's not going to like damage or cause blood or like be scary. Like really foolproof. And so yeah, I came up with this design based on like what do I want, what do I need, right? And so it's super easy. You just fill it to the phone line, screw this on, it cleans, and then you just stamp where you want to treat it, and then you put on the vitamin C serum, and then you're done. Like you get on with your day.
No, it's so easy, and the downtime is so easy too. And I think
so easy.
That's another thing, because I have done professional microneedling, and it was like it worked great, and obviously it's gonna work great because the science is there to back it up. But one, like I didn't consistently keep up with them due to multiple reasons. I think I had my first treatment when I was around 15 years old, so I definitely didn't have the money to upkeep it. Second of all, the downtime, like it was like a few days where I couldn't even put water on my face, and that's a lot. Like, especially when you're like as an adult now, I work like a job, like I can work remotely when I need to and stuff, but for a lot of people, like you can't just take like a week off work every time you microneedle your face.
Yeah, it's very like not convenient. Like you can't wash your face, you can't like when you shower.
Exercise.
They actually said you can't wash your hair, and I'm like, and then they say you can't exercise, which for me is like, oh my god, like my mental health, like like what am I supposed to do? So yeah, it's really hard. And also I think of like almost microneedling as like you working out, strength training in the gym. You need to consistently mechanically tear those muscles, to make them grow back stronger. That's when you're gonna see results. Very similar. You gotta like mechanically, get into that skin to make those collagen fibers grow back. So it's not like a one-time thing. You have to consistently do it. And yeah, I just feel like a lot of people don't have that time to take off all that time, of their schedule, and especially when you're younger, like all that money, and acne scarring is not covered by insurance, which is a whole other issue because I think it's a cosmetic thing. To me, it's more like a mental
health issue. No, for sure. And I think it also is great for just like upkeep, even if you do get a professional treatment done, right?
Exactly.
Like it's not a direct replacement, but it's a great like alternative or thing that you can use kind of coupled with professional treatments. But I do know like you did have the first Banisher, which was like your traditional roller. So when did you make the change to the stamp, and why? I mean, I know why. Like the stamp is so much better, but like what kind of made you decide that in that moment?
Well, the roller was just kind of like a test thing. Like, okay, do people want this, and do they want to try this? And again, this was nobody else was making these rollers. Like this was like we were the first.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the stamper was like, well, I want people to be able to treat targeted areas, right? I want it to be convenient for them to use. And specifically for me, it's whenever that pimple leaves a scar, I want you to treat it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And also, if you stamp this on a banana versus a roller, you can actually see that the roller may create trantract scarring, which if you think about it, a roller goes and it kind of scoops it versus this just goes straight down.
Straight down.
And also, there's something about pressure. I feel like a lot of people either push too hard or they're confused about how hard
the
to
roller,
push, which I know is like, it's kind of like it's actually very frequently asked. Like, people don't know, when you're really pushing hard on the roller, you're gonna tear your skin apart. I don't want that. This is foolproof. Like, you only push so hard, it's not gonna go any further, right? So I mean, there's just a whole bunch of reasons. But if you look at I don't even like to call them needles, because you can't even see it with like you can't even take a photo of it. But if you compare them with any other device on the market, these are the absolute finest needles out there. And it's just because I want it to be foolproof. I want it to be super safe, super foolproof. There's absolutely no way like you're gonna mess up, right? So I created the Banisher, and also just this cap. You can just bring it with you on the go.
It's so easy. Yes, and that's exactly what it is. And kind of bring it back to what you talked about with it being very like spot directed. Like, you can really use it in the areas you want to target. And I just posted that TikTok the other day, kind of doing a tutorial of how I microneedle, and I do this about once a week. But a lot of people in the comments are like, do not do this on active pimples. And it's like, guys, like, if I had an active pimple like on my nose, I'm obviously not going to just stamp that area, so I'm gonna avoid, and that's kind of the difference when it goes to like a let's say professional microneedling treatment. As great as it is, you do have to wait, because I did just see a dermatologist just a few months ago, and I did want to do a professional microneedling treatment, because I'm like, you know what, let's just get like a deep treatment done, and then I can do my uptake at home. But they were like, we cannot do this on you until every last one of your pimples is gone. And I am very acne prone. I get little breakouts all the time. If I like eat a little too much sugar one day or have a drink on the weekend, like, I'm gonna break out. So I'm like, well, that's not gonna happen. Like, there's never, I think, gonna be a point where it's like zero acne ever.
For me, even like, even in my mid-30s, I'm still like breaking out.
Yeah, we're just acne prone. Like, it's just what it is.
And I just want to caution people like who do choose to go down the professional route. Number one, just be careful. Yeah, make sure that you're not having any active breakouts, because sometimes where you're getting active breakouts, but maybe the esthetician doesn't. And I've had it where it's like I'll get a few like along my jaw, and I'll just like microneedle over it, and
and you're like,
because like sometimes they don't see it, but know.
Especially with those underground ones, like you can't.
Yes. And then also, secondly, like it depends on what they put on afterwards. Like PRP is totally fine because that's your own, whatever. But I don't know. Someone was using some kind of serum or face mask, and I was like, no, I don't want that on my. You just have to be careful what they use on afterwards,
right?
Because if they're using on something that's going to make you break out, or you're allergic to, or shouldn't be used after microneedling, that's going to just give you more acne and could give you an infection, all that stuff. So just be really, really careful on those 2 points if you do go that professional route. I know for me, because I know exactly like what I'm putting on my face afterwards. I know where I'm breaking out. Like I feel like, okay, I don't have to worry about that. But if you do it professionally, just make sure you're cognizant of those things, and make sure your professional, is wearing gloves, and make sure they're, I'm like, they have to wear a mask and a face shield. I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't have you breathing on my face when there's like fresh holes. I'm like OCD about this. And then also, like, if you do the PRP, just make sure that they don't bring that vial somewhere else.
Yes.
Like, make sure that they spin it in the room and you see it.
Yes.
Just in case it gets mixed up, if there's another treatment going, I mean, it's just
take all the precautions, because it's definitely a invasive face treatment. As you said, they are putting holes into your face. I've had it done. I looked crazy afterwards. It was, and obviously they numb your face and everything, so it's not really like painful or anything like that. But it definitely is quite an intense face treatment to do, and especially if you're not like used to getting face treatments, let's say if you're like haven't even done like a chemical peel or anything yet, like I definitely say maybe try that first, you know, get yourself acquainted to more of those like medical skin treatments first before you go in with the microneedling. But that's just in my opinion. I guess moving on from there, I do want to ask you, because you said like Banish wasn't really, I guess, in your game plan at first. It just kind of happened. So how was that for you becoming a business owner and figuring all that out? Because I know for me, even as a content creator so young, when I first got like into the business side of content creating, I was so lost, and it was definitely a lot of learning curve. So I want to hear a little bit about that from you.
Yeah, I love that question. Running a business is so different from anything else I've done in my life. Like I was very academically driven because I was like, I have to be a dermatologist, which means I have to have like the highest GPA and
Yeah.
everything. Um, and that's very different because that's just like memorizing and reading from a book and like doing what you're told. Whereas business, it's like so chaotic. Like you don't
So
know what the right answer
variable.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like things happen all the time. It's all about risk. Um, but I actually love it. Like I love being able to have a vision and being like, this is a problem that I want to solve for me and
Mm-hmm.
other people, and like let's do it. But there's no like guidebook on how to
No.
do it. And so a lot of it has to do with just knowing your values, following your intuition, having that vision and staying true to it. Like really learning how to listen to yourself, and trust yourself, right? And as the business gets larger, it's less of a skills thing, because I'm not going to know how to do everything, right? But it's more of, can you face your biggest weaknesses
Mm-hmm.
like in the mirror? So it's all about like learning how to level up constantly. And it's not leveling up in skills, it's leveling up like who you are as a person. So
Right.
think of your like deep like biggest weaknesses. That's in the mirror right in
Yes.
front of you. You cannot escape, and that is truly what makes business and business leadership so difficult,
Yes.
because a lot of times like when you're working for someone else or you're doing something else, you can hide it. You can
Mm-hmm.
like just hide it.
There's processes, and you know
Yeah,
you can ask questions, and when you get stuck, it's like someone is gonna know the answer. But when it comes to business, it's it's all like a bunch of question marks that you have to figure out. And I actually had a conversation the other day, and the person I was talking to brought up a really great point about failure and how it's so important. But more importantly than that is failing fast. And every failure you have, making sure that, okay, like I failed here, but like getting back from it quickly, because if you don't, if you're slow in that failure, that's when it's really going to bite you in
yeah,
the ass.
yeah,
So I think definitely you've probably come across some of that, owning a business. I'm sure it's not easy. I'm obviously content creating is very different. I'm kind of stepping my toes now into kind of becoming a business owner also, but it's definitely a really scary world out there. And I'm a fellow STEM major as well. I'm studying chemical engineering in school, but I'm also studying business as well. And let me tell you, what they teach you in school in terms of business is nowhere near what the real life business
yep,
world looks like. It's so different.
yeah. And I think like for business, I think what makes it so hard is there's no right answer,
No.
and you can't be too much of one thing or another. It's like, yes, fail fast, but also stay in it long enough so at least you've exhausted all the options. But yeah, don't stay in it
Right.
too long
Yes,
that
no,
like
that's
you
a
lose
great point.
everything, right? So
Yes.
there, and then it's like you have to be adaptable to change, right? You have to be
That's a
flexible and
great point,
adaptable,
yeah.
but you can't be too flexible in which you don't get anything done and you're just like
Yes, you
completely.
can't be all over the place.
Yes, and there's a very fine gray line, and that's what makes it so hard because you can't just teach people to be adaptable.
No.
But you also can't, you also need some kind of structure. So it's, yeah, there's always a fine gray line, and it's very hard to like juggle that line.
So was that like, what was kind of the biggest challenge for you right at the start? Was it kind of like figuring out, okay, like I want to create these products, like how the heck do I even go by doing that? Was it, I guess there was a need for it already because you were getting lots of questions regarding it. Was it just because you were doing it alone, or did you have like kind of a team set up right from the start? What did that kind of look like?
I think the hardest part in the beginning was believing that there would be something coming out from this,
Got it.
right? Like I was just this girl with acne on YouTube.
Right.
So I was like, and I remember, I come from immigrant parents, so they're very like practical, like doctor,
Yeah.
lawyer, president, like that's what those are career options.
Yes.
And they were just saying like, well, what makes you think you're going to create something that L'Oreal can't create? And I'm like, that's true. I mean, it is true.
I mean, like, you're right.
They're a billion dollar company. They have the best resources in the world. Like, yeah, you're exactly right. But it was just that leap of faith and believing in myself that I think was really, really difficult. And to be honest, I actually like didn't really believe in myself. It was honestly the viewers on YouTube who believed in me because they were the ones who wanted the product, right? They were like,
Yeah.
oh, I see the results. But if they didn't ask for it, I would have been like, nope, I'm not gonna do this. So yeah, that was definitely probably the hardest thing. And then I think you get to the point where you start hiring people and putting them on payroll, and then it's like it's like so weird because you have to register with the state. You give them, you have this number, you have to deduct Social Security, Medicare, like all these taxes from their paycheck, and it's a big responsibility. Like, you know, this business is going to produce enough income so that you can use it for your families and for your livelihood.
And also paying other people, like, not just yourself.
Yeah, that was a scary moment. That continues, you know, to be scary at all times, right?
Yes.
But honestly, I don't try to think about it too much because then I get paralyzed. So I'm just like, you know what? Like, as long as I'm true to the mission and as long as I just do the best that I can, and yeah, just stay true and always think to myself, like, okay, that 13-year-old Daisy, like, what did she want? What did she need? Then I know I'm going to go on the right path, right? But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself if you don't know all the answers, or, you know, you don't need to be perfect, right? You're going to fail. But yeah, I think the big thing for me was like learning not to be too hard on myself.
That's a great point you bring up there, because at the end of the day, everyone started from zero, right? And everyone started with no experience. And as I, you know, am entering my adulthood and stuff, I keep realizing that everyone's kind of just faking it till they make it, and everyone just knows a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't mean they know everything, right? So
right. I think the big thing is like, before I would compare my business to other people, be like, oh, look what they're doing, and oh, look at that, and look at this.
It's so easy to do that, yeah.
Yeah, but like honestly, like behind the scenes, like a month later, like they're filing for bankruptcy. You know, like you never know.
Yes.
You never know, and like don't compare what you're doing to what anyone else, because honestly, like, you never know. Yeah.
And I think that's such a big, like, not only thing to remember in life, but especially like with social media. Like, I've definitely gone in that headspace of maybe comparing like my looks, especially with acne, right? Comparing myself to people with clear skin online, or even just like people's lives online, because everything we post online is a freaking highlight reel, and we're like, oh my gosh, that person's always happy or on trips or doing this and this, and look at them, they have the best life. And I'm sure people look at like my accounts like that too sometimes, but it's like there's still real people behind those photos that have real life experiences, that have bad days, that are probably going through something as well. And I think especially when it comes to our businesses or in your career, it's really easy to start comparing yourself in terms of like financials or followers or whatever it is, right? But you just have to remember, as you said, like, you don't always know the full story of someone, and just because someone has other successes than you doesn't mean that you're not successful in your own path and in your own journey in your business. So that's a great.
I love that.
There.
Very well said. Yep.
Oh, thank you.
So mature.
Thank you. So is this year 10 going on for Banish?
Yeah, year 10.
That's
big one.
crazy.
Oh, I know. And it's you know, the first couple of years I started, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wake up one morning, there's gonna be 0 orders, it's gonna be over, and then I'm going to get a real job. You know, like,
and it just keeps going.
Back to that, yeah, all that stuff. No, it's been amazing, and you know, I attribute it to a lot of. I mean, I think a lot of it is just staying relevant and like just being able to be flexible, right, with the landscape and things change. I mean, we were so, like, in the beginning it was just me making videos on YouTube, you know, and that was enough. And then, you know, going on IG, right, and that was like doing well in the acne positivity community. Now it's moving on TikTok, right, and it's just things are constantly changing all the time.
Constantly,
so so just being able to be adaptable, right? And I think you as a content creator, I think being a content creator actually is probably the best thing you can do to practice like business, because as a content creator, you constantly have to reinvent yourself. Like you constantly have to be relevant, right?
You're always fighting for that space, like
you're always
on a
fighting.
platform.
You always have to, yeah, reinvent yourself, because otherwise, you know,
you can never stay comfortable, because like you get comfortable for one day and people don't give a fuck about you the next.
Exactly. So that's exactly the same in business. So yeah, I think even doing YouTube just on my own for a little bit taught me a lot on running a business.
Well, that's awesome. And I think even maybe dealing, I mean, I'm taking a guess here, but maybe even dealing with like criticism too, because I'm sure, I mean, the internet's a hateful place in terms of like hate comments and stuff.
It's funny because hate comments don't really bug me, and maybe it's because I was bullied from acne so much. Like I'm just like immune. Like
I'm the same way. Like I had someone ask me the other day, they're like, okay, how do you deal with the hate comments, like being like a content creator? I'm like, I don't even like care.
Yeah, notice.
I'll laugh at them every once in a while, you know, make like a funny video out of it, make some good content, get some inspiration. But other than that, like they are so surface level to me. I never let them like get skin deep, because like it's just people behind the keyboard. But I know it's so much easier said than done, right? Because but I think with us, like because we grew up with that, now we're like immune to any type of hate that could even.
Yeah, you know, honestly, like whenever I get hate, I'm like, oh my god, you're like giving me free engagement. Like it's helping the algorithm. Like I love it. Keep it coming.
It's fan behavior.
Like I now don't need to pay for ads. Like keep it coming.
Keep it coming. So, no, that's so true. I did want to ask though, because I remember you made a video a while back, and I was really curious about it. You mentioned something about obviously like the skincare space, especially in the last few years, has become very saturated. Like everyone is coming out with line, especially celebrities. Would you, like, now that like Banish is 10 years old, let's say like, you know, you didn't have Banish, would you start a skincare line in today's day and age?
It would have to treat something that is not like already addressed, or you know, it can't just be like
another serum or
whatever. It can't just be whatever. Like there has to be something about it. Like I don't want to say an edge, but like it's like something that makes it what it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you think of any brand, there's always that like staple, unique pillar product that they're known for. So yeah, you need to do that. I feel like the brands that fail are the ones that just try to do like
what everyone else is doing.
Everything, and they have.
Or they keep it too broad in a way.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, how is this different from anything else? So if I didn't have Banish, I probably wouldn't do it because I don't know what other issue I would have.
Well, I think it also like goes to show that like when your business is so like close to you, you know, for you, like you started Banish because it was solving an issue that you personally experienced. I think it's so much harder to really keep a business alive if you can't relate to it. And I actually was having a conversation with my boyfriend earlier about like starting business and stuff, and we were talking about how passion and being like almost obsessed with your own business is like so important, because if you aren't like so involved in it, you know, and you don't have such a passion for it, it's not gonna last very long, because it's probably because you're in it for the wrong reasons, maybe. And I think it's the same with content creating, and especially now, like I see so many creators up and coming and, you know, just coming in and leaving because they're just in it because they want like the PR or the brand trips or whatever it is, but they don't actually have a passion to create an actual community or have like a deeper message than just like skincare or beauty. And I mean, I love skincare and makeup, but like you have to have something deeper than that you're like selling yourself with.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of stuff on TikTok like, start your own business, like you don't have a boss, you can travel the world, all this stuff, and I'm like,
girl boss, be your own boss, work from your phone.
No, it's not like that, because literally every single minute of your waking day is going to be preoccupied. Like you don't ever get to clock. Like I'm not clocked out for 10 years.
No. Yeah, she's been working 10 years straight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, like I am not, like, even if I'm on vacation, there's always something that happens.
Something, like, fires you're trying to put out.
I was literally in the middle of a boat in like Italy. It's so random. In Italy, I had to send a payment, and I was like, oh my god, who has a hotspot? Like I was literally on a boat.
Oh my gosh.
Wiring a payment. Yeah, so
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So what does like a typical like let's say day in your life or week in your life kind of look like? And I know like you have a family too, so like what does that
a lot of
kind of
it
look like?
is like just thinking, so I
Okay.
think the biggest thing about like once you get to a stage where your business, like you have employees and you have people like running things, a lot of it is just like in your head, like just thinking of stuff.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily like you're in the computer grinding, although like sometimes you will be, but it's more like making connections from things.
Yes.
A lot of Zoom calls too. And when you have a Zoom call, then it like you'll think about it and you'll think about other stuff. I think also a lot of it's managing people,
Mhm.
which is probably one of the most difficult skills. A lot of, I mean, ask anybody, it's very different from anything else you'll do. But I think having a natural curiosity in people and wanting them to be their best and wanting them to shine really helps manage and motivating them. But yeah, it's a very, very difficult thing to
Mhm.
work with a lot of human beings. It is.
No, for sure. I work right now in the project management space, and
Okay, so you know.
it's definitely opened my eyes a lot because I'm a very like doer type person. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, doing content creating, like I'm self-employed. It's kind of like, I mean, I have my brother that helps me out with stuff, but other than
Yeah.
that, like it's kind of a one-man show. I wear every hat. And if I want to get something done, I'm the one who has to go out and do it.
Right.
But when you work like and you're managing like a team or working in that environment, you are relying on other people, and sometimes in order to do like the work you want to do, you have to wait on other people too. So that
Yeah.
can definitely become tough, and knowing how to manage people and kind of do that well, and be like an enjoyable like manager or whatever, but also make sure that things are getting done can be a tough
Yeah,
balance,
right.
I'm
It's
sure.
a again, it's a fine line thing. It's like
Yeah.
you want to be empathetic and nice and friendly and all that, but at the same time, like shit needs to get done,
Yeah,
right?
not too
But you can't.
easygoing, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So again, it's that
very
where's that
fine
line?
line. Yeah, so
Yeah.
how big is your team now?
So we have about
Oh
13
wow.
people. Yeah, but we have, I mean, a ton of warriors and content creators and brand
Yes,
ambassadors who are not part of that
a lot of
group.
supporters and people
Yeah,
that love the
yeah.
brand. But that's
Mhm.
crazy, 13 employees. Wow. Isn't that? I feel like you, like, when you were in school and stuff, would be, like, just shook by now that you have, like, 13 people employed, like, with Banish. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess I never really sat down and like thought about how I would think about that.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like, oh, okay, we need to bring someone on for this, or
right.
and
You
it just
just find the
sorting
need
out.
for it, yeah, as
Yeah,
you
and then
keep
you don't
growing.
really reflect. And I honestly like I have the best, like we have the best team ever. I would say most of us have struggled with acne, so I think it makes it a lot more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the best people, like, and I've had, like, for example, Katie has been with me almost 8, 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, we have people who've been here for 5, 6, 7 years.
Since the
So
start, yeah.
yeah, that's been amazing to like go on this journey with them.
Yeah, and I'm sure the growth too with the brand. That's a really great thing to have. Just that tight knit group of people that you can obviously trust with your business and
Exactly.
kind of see your goals too. And because they've been with you for so long, like I'm sure you kind of see your vision a bit more. And kind of speaking of that, like, what's your kind of goals with Banish in the next like few years, or like in the even in the like acne and acne scar kind of industry or the skin positivity space also, like where do you want Banish to kind of go from there?
Yeah, I think the main overarching goal is to have Banish be known for the acne scar treatment.
Okay.
So just like Proactive was known for everyone to treat acne, what do you do when you have an acne scar? You have the Banish Kit,
Yeah.
right? I still feel like there's a ton of room and opportunity for people to know about. I feel like a lot of people still don't know about it.
No. Yeah.
Acne scarring is a huge issue. Um, think about how many people have acne. Think about how many of those have scars, right? There's no other product or brand that is solving it. So I really want to make this accessible to the masses and, you know, have people take back control of their skin and their scarring and being able to treat it as soon as possible. And then, going through maybe iterations of the Banisher, maybe an updated version, all of that. But to me, it's like really solving that problem of treating acne scars at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of becoming. I don't know if you saw, like Heinz ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
When they did they did this like ad at one point where they got like a bunch of people, like hundreds of people, to draw a ketchup bottle, and basically the overarching thing was that everyone drew a Heinz ketchup bottle. So it's like when you think of ketchup, you think of Heinz. So for you, it's like when people think of acne scars, you want them acne scars, Banish, and kind of have that like back and forth association. Yeah.
But I think even more so that I think I want people to take control of their confidence and not feel like acne is going to limit them in any way, and just feel confident with the way they look regardless of their skin condition. I think that's first and foremost. So I always say, like, if your skin improves, amazing, right, with Banish products. But more importantly is I want you to feel confident. Empowered, I want you to feel empowered, because I think about that time where I just lost 15 years of my life because I was hiding and thinking I was gross. Like, I don't want anyone to go through that.
It's the worst feeling.
Yeah, think about like all the stuff I could have done. I want everyone else to like live their life regardless of their skin condition.
Of their skin, yeah.
Yeah, normalizing acne, all this. So yeah, moreover, it's just like, hey, got acne scar, that's normal.
Exactly, yeah. Like, you can do stuff to kind of help it, but it's not like it shouldn't take over your life in the way that it might be so far. And one thing that I really love about the Banish accounts too is, like, when I look at them, it's not just like a brand that has products. I also see those like posts, like it really feels like a community, which is honestly one of the best parts about it. And I think I don't know, us that have struggled with acne, I think, have a very different perspective on life. Recently I got a comment on my YouTube, and the person had said, like, oh my gosh, if I had like skin like yours, I would be so embarrassed, I'd never leave the house, whatever. So I commented back, and I don't usually respond to hate comments or anything like that, but I commented back with a more educational standpoint of like, hey, like, acne is really hard to deal with, but I would rather choose to live my life and be happy while treating my acne, and once I get there, I'll get there. If I get there, whatever it is, right? But there's no reason that I should live in a dark hole until like my skin clears up, if it ever does. And immediately they respond, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like, I didn't mean to like offend you. And I'm like, I'm not offended, I'm just like letting you know, because for me that doesn't bother me, but just in the case, like, maybe if you say that to someone else that hasn't kind of come to that point where they can love their skin a bit more, it can be really hard to hear. Like, I've gotten comments before from someone saying like, oh my gosh, I'd rather die than have skin like yours, and just things like that, which are a little extreme and just dumb to say in my opinion. But again, those things don't bother me, but I think someone else who's maybe just starting their journey or just starting to have acne and kind of really going through a hard time, those can be really hard things to hear. So I think spreading those messages as well is really important, to make sure that we're kind of stopping that bullying when it comes to acne as well.
And I just also want to say, like, I feel like why is acne a negative thing? I mean, why is it a negative thing? It's because skincare brands keep constantly pushing flawless
it's a problem.
Skin.
Yeah,
exactly. Like,
you're viewed as a problem.
Why is texture on skin a bad thing? Like where does it say it's bad? Like, like who made that? It's honestly like, in this industry, in this beauty industry, it's like you're either perfect or you're bad. Like, everything has to be flawless, smooth, right?
You're banned from like society if you have pores.
Exactly, right? And it's like trying to force down people's throat, like, you have to be completely perfect for you to be acceptable. But no, like, I really want to change that narrative through Banish. Like, you can just be who you are. That's like totally okay. So that's why, like, all of the photos of people, like, from the get-go, I've never done like a professional photo shoot with like models and like casting and like editing their skin. Never. Because it's
a facade. It's curated, and it's
curated, and I just want to showcase real people, right? Yeah. And that's always been the mission of Banish. And so the overarching goal is just to make skin normal, right?
No, I love that, and I definitely see kind of the themes of like maybe that these pull in like from you originally being like a content creator and creating on YouTube. But I definitely, when I look at Banish social medias, they definitely feel very like blog style type things of just like, here's what we are, like, we're just and and like featuring a bunch of different faces and so much diversity and stuff like that, which is something I really like because a lot of like skincare brands, you go on their website or their Instagram pages and it feels very heavily branded and it's just like, here's their products. But I think you guys do a great job at having kind of that background message there too. I do want to ask though, like, what has been, I guess, the biggest struggle as like a business owner for you?
Well, I'll be honest, I'll think like recently, there was some false information on the internet that microneedling at home was bad and going to give you an infection. So I made this TikTok. It's like microneedling will unalive your whole family, just like
right. I remember seeing this. Yeah.
Is someone who's very influential in the skincare community said you should never do it at home, because there was a published study in which people did get infections from microneedling, but that was done at a spa first and foremost, and secondly, it was because of the serum they used afterwards caused the infection, not necessarily the actual microneedling. Whatever, right? Like, right. It wasn't anything relating to doing it at home.
Well, and it comes with user error too. Like if you're using a roller and doing this, like obviously, like you're gonna risk infection.
It's like when you're cooking. Like, of course you could burn your house down.
Yes.
But like,
there's always risks involved.
There's always risks, right? But I feel like with this cancel culture, it wasn't even cancel culture, but it was just like people just take one headline and then they're like, oh my God, run with it, and then they were just like accusing me of being like, you're creating like dangerous, you're being danger to society. You're dangerous.
Oh my gosh. Daisy, you're gonna end the world with Spanish.
I'm sorry. Like little thing, it's like end the call, right?
Yes.
And that was really, at first when I saw it, like I didn't really make the connection, but later I was like, oh my gosh, like people actually believe in this fake news, like, and then I was like, what am I supposed to do, right? And I think as a small business, it's hard to get your voice out there when so many people already think that you're like canceled,
Yes.
So that was very, very, like, it was hard because it was like you have such good intentions, it was never my intention to make anything dangerous, all this stuff, but it's like, how do I get it out there? Like, I just feel like I can't get out there. But thank goodness that TikTok went viral, because I think it started changing people's opinions, all this stuff. But that was kind of a hard lesson to learn. But I always get reminded that like whenever you do something that's a little bit different, people are not gonna like it, and for example, I just saw the movie Elvis. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to.
But when like Elvis started performing, everyone's like, oh my God, he's a danger to society, like his moves are too provocative, like what is he instilling in her, like everyone was like trying to cancel him and cancel his tour and shows, and they're like, you shouldn't be dancing on stage, all the time. And it's like, yeah, well, of course, when you're doing something a little bit different, there's always people who aren't gonna like it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just being able to like work through that.
For sure. And you bring up a fantastic point there, because I think people are really uncomfortable with when they see something different or something out of the ordinary, because we as humans, we're really comfortable with comfort and the feeling of like stability and no change. And I think even for myself, posting about like my acne and that even itself, I feel like sometimes makes a lot of people uncomfortable, especially people with clear skin. It's honestly like most of my hate comments, or like the comments that are like, oh my gosh, why would you like post this, are from people with clear skin, because they just can't wrap their heads around like how someone can be happy when their skin like isn't clear. And even some creators I've met too, like I feel like I do make them maybe a little uncomfortable, because they're like, how are you able to just post this content, and like I don't, like, if you look at my Instagram, it's very like not aesthetic at all. Like I wish I was maybe more aesthetic, but I just can't, like I'm not gonna fake that, like I can't, that's not who I am, right? I just post what I want, I'll obviously I'm there to like help people and inspire them, but at the end of the day, like I'll just post what I want, and I'm not afraid to like post a makeup free selfie and stuff like that. Obviously that's the bulk of what my content's about, but I do find it really interesting how uncomfortable me just being like living my life with my acne can make other people so uncomfortable. It's kind of crazy to me.
I know. I think it's, yeah, I think just like, you know, sometimes when you're confident and you're authentic in who you are, it just, yeah, it makes people uncomfortable, right?
Yep. But you just gotta.
That's not your problem. That's more about them than it does about you. And
exactly.
that's something I've had to learn is like, you know, when people start hating on something, what does it say about that, right? There's something obviously that's triggering, right? All this stuff. So, yeah, I think it's so important to like be who you are, be authentic. And I think there is that moment when like people are just like telling me I'm trying to be dangerous or something. I was like, well, maybe I should stop. Like maybe like I should stop this selling this device. Like if people think I'm like a dangerous person and causing danger to society, maybe like, you know, I had those doubts.
You start to think those thoughts that are
maybe they're right. But then I always think about like think about that person who really needs it and how it's changed their life and who will benefit from it. Like you can't think that way, you know. You have to really think about like how many people you're helping, right?
Yeah, and all the like, you know, success stories that Banish has had and like all the customers you serve and that need you do serve. Like imagine how probably upset at you they would be if you say like, no, I'm taking that one thing that helps you with your acne scars, I'm taking that back. So yeah, I think that would definitely cause some chaos either way, but I think that just goes to show that you do have a product that's different when it causes this much like disruption on like in the media, you know, because if it were just any other ordinary serum or whatever, people wouldn't really care, right? Because it would be different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, as we kind of wrap this up here, something that I ask everyone that comes on the podcast, and you might have heard in some of my videos as well. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First one being, what is something that you love about your skin today or lately? Just anything.
Something I love about my skin, I mean, I feel like today is like a pretty good skin day. Love about my skin. I love how it has been protecting me for 34 years and allowing me to do everything that I do. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but it does so much for me, you know, and we're just so cruel to it because we compare it to something that's unattainable, right?
Yes. I love that answer. And I guess going back to showing people, another question that I like to ask just to kind of reinstill to people that not everything is always like super positive. Are there ever times where you do get down about your skin even now, and in those situations what do you kind of do to bring yourself back up to a positive space?
I love that. So even though I have a skincare line, right, and I sometimes do like presentations or like, you know, I have to make a video, and I'll look at the video and I'm like, oh, like I'll see the scars, I'll see the pimples, I'll see the acne, and I'm like, am I really a skincare founder? It's like my skin doesn't look perfect, and I have those like negative thoughts. I even had a YouTube video of like how to use the Banish Kit, and someone commented like her scars are still there, like it doesn't work. You know, it's just these comments where it's like so hard on myself.
Yes, you start to feel a bit like of that imposter syndrome, like
imposter syndrome.
Yes.
But what do I tell myself? I tell myself that people are not here to judge me on my skin. They're here to feel better about themselves. Like that's my mission, right? It's not about me. It's about other people.
Yes.
So I think if you always whenever you're like feeling down about yourself, take the focus off you and towards other people. Focus on helping them. You're gonna be so distracted with helping other people, you just like forget about how you look.
I love that response.
It's like, yeah.
I've never heard that, never thought about that, like taking the focus off yourself and putting it onto others, because so many of your problems will like instantly just like vanish when you stop focusing so much on like yourself and also the like projections people put on you as well. So I love that answer. Yeah. That's a great one. And I guess just to wrap it up here, anything new and exciting coming from Banish that you kind of want to talk about or can talk about? I'm not sure.
Well, we have a new product coming out very, very soon, and I'm very excited because it's not unlike anything we've done before.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
And then so you should see, like, it's funny because when I make TikToks, like, some of this will show up, but, like, literally my whole counter is just filled with, like, random, how are they labeled? Like, just, like, product samples, right? And then a really ugly container just, like, sprawled everywhere. I constantly am trying different formulations and things, but I think it's pretty much nailed down. One, we just have to finalize the packaging of it.
Awesome.
But that hopefully is going to be coming towards Q3, Q2. Yeah, so
exciting. Well, I can't wait to hear about that in the future as well. But so exciting. For anyone listening, you can find Banish at Banish Acne Scars on mostly everything. And go check out their kit. I've been loving it for a really long time. Go check out Daisy's story. I think you still have that on the website there if you want to read more about that. But thank you so much, Daisy, for coming on to LoudTalk. It was so great having you on here and, talking a bit of business, talking a bit of
great
as well.
Very insightful questions.
Thank you. I'm trying to learn how to do this whole podcast thing. It's definitely a bit of a learning curve, but I mean, hey, I love to talk and I love making connections with people, so I feel like this is a great way to do it. So I really appreciate your time here. But that's really it for this episode. Go ahead and follow Banish as well as Daisy on socials. I'll have all the links in the description of this YouTube video, or if you're listening on any of your podcast streaming services like Apple Podcast or Spotify, go check out the YouTube version because we do record video as well. That is it for this episode. Don't forget to stay loud, stay confident, and just be you in this crazy world. Thank you again to Daisy for being on the pod, and I'll see you in the next episode of Loud Talk. Bye, everyone.
Bye.